Hi there, art adventurers. I hope you're doing well. Thought you might want to see my face once in a while since we don't have a live lesson until, let's see, 2 more weeks, end of the month. So we always have a live Zoom lesson at the beginning of each month and the end of each month. So on Mondays. Anyway, today we are going to be recreating an art piece from artist Oscar Ortiz. He was born in 1964, so he is still living. He's a contemporary artist, and I'd like to show you a little bit of his art. Well, first I'll show you what we will be recreating, and then I will also show you a little bit of his website. So if you bear with me just a second, and I will switch the camera. So this is what we are going to be recreating. This is a painting originally by Oscar Ortiz. Obviously, we won't be painting, but this is black construction paper, and we're going to be using oil pastels if you have them. If you don't have oil pastels, you can use crayon. You can also use colored pencil. It won't be as bright, but it will look pretty good. So this is black construction paper. I'll show you everything we need after I show you his website. So I'm going to flip you over here to my iPad where I have Oscar Ortiz's website. So these are some of the colorful pieces. These are paintings that he has done, and they're beautifully colorful. He was, again, born in 1964, so he is still alive. Here's the one that we're going to be doing, this one right here. I thought that was really fun. This month is National Hispanic Heritage Month. So we are going to celebrate that by doing one of our first pieces this month by a Hispanic artist. So I'm going to click on this one. I thought this was so colorful. I mean, they all are, but what a beautiful design. So it's actually called Hispanic Heritage. That's the title of the painting. Look at all those colors. So I thought a great way to celebrate this would be to recreate his work on colored paper. Well, actually black paper, black construction paper that we have here. And like I said, with oil pastels or with crayons. So let's get started. Okay, so the materials you will need: black construction paper, a white colored pencil, because we will be drawing with that, and oil pastels. So the colors that I like to use for this: red, orange, yellow. I have sort of a mint green, a regular green, it's a baby blue color, and then a really light, sort of almost white color, but it's a little bit blue. So maybe like a whitish baby blue. If you don't have this many colors, it's okay. You can use crayons. So, and again, if you don't have oil pastels, you can use crayons. I just have a very basic set from Michael's, from their brand Artist Loft. Very inexpensive. I can't really remember how much I paid, but it's pretty inexpensive. But it came with quite a bit of colors. So I used that for this project. Real quickly, a little something else about Oscar Ortiz. So he was mainly a self-taught artist until the year 2000 when he got serious about his art. While in school, in grade school growing up, he loved to do art. He would do a lot of art projects for his school, but he never did anything with his art until about 30 years later when he lived in North Carolina, and he and his wife were walking in town, and there was a comic, sort of like a comic book expo, and they decided to walk around, and he remembers hearing all of the pencils sketching because there was the comic book artists were there, and he turned to his wife and realized that this is what he wanted to do, and she was supportive of it. And they happened to be having this conversation in front of a booth. There's different booths set up there. It was inside at a comic book expo where there was a bunch of tables and comic book artists. And there was also a booth there for an art school. And he happened to be having this conversation in front of that table. And the man heard him and said, "Do you draw?" And Oscar said, "Yes, but I'm not formally trained." So the man told him he should set up a time to see him and to look at his drawings. And they did. And he said, "Well, you can absolutely draw, but I think you should have some schooling to get a little better at what you're doing." And so Oscar did, and in just 2 years, he started creating art that sold. So now he's an international artist and has even created a children's book, which when I find out about it, I will show all of you. But I want to celebrate him this month, at least for this lesson, with one of his beautiful paintings that we're going to recreate. So I think he's a really interesting story as far as an artist goes. He worked really hard, went back to school, but had been drawing all of his life. So it's really interesting that he wanted to pursue it as a career, and now he's doing a great job. So the other thing I forgot to mention is you also need a ruler. And obviously some sort of eraser if you need it. But we will be drawing in white colored pencil so that you'll be able to see it on the construction paper. I'm just going to adjust my camera here. Okay, so we're going to get started. I'm going to move my oil pastels to the side. And we're going to start creating. So here we go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use our ruler to create a border around the edge of our drawing. So as you can see, there's a border around, and I just used my ruler for the border. I just traced it each side. So that's the first thing you want to do. Okay, so you want to make sure that your white colored pencil is sharp. So if you need to sharpen that before we start, that would be a great idea. And first thing we're going to do is, like I mentioned, we're going to create our border around the black construction paper just by tracing the ruler. So as you can see, it's just the width of the ruler, so you want to line it up at the top and bottom of each of the sides of the construction paper and the sides. Oops, to fix that line. It got a little bit away from me. And just take your time. You want to make sure that it's straight so that your border looks good. And obviously, as you notice, you're going all the way across so that you then have 4 squares in each of the corners. So just looking back again at this. So what we're going to do now is draw all of those elements in his painting. So you can sort of, I think you can see a bit of his painting up top here. So what we're going to do is first we're going to draw each of the triangles that are happening. So there are 3 triangles happening on the top and the bottom. Technically, there are more than 3, but we're going to concentrate on the red ones, drawing those. And then we have 5 on the sides. So 5 triangles, 5 red triangles on the sides. So, and I just am going to freehand draw this. If you feel better using a ruler, please do. But just gonna draw from the corner to each of the top. And again, there's 3 here, and then 3 at the bottom. So technically, you can see there's a lot more than 3, but I'm looking at the red ones. And then you'd like to move your paper this way so you can draw this side. That's sort of what I do. So in this, the top and the bottom, there are 5. If you don't get 5, that's okay. I think when I did this before, I got a little less, but no, that time I got 5. I'm gonna do the same thing. On this side. Okay. And now you have the start of your border. So in each of the corners, I'm looking here at the original. If you can see, it's a very interesting symbol there. So we're going to recreate that. And again, everything is in, we're doing everything in the white pencil first. So I'm just going to sort of recreate a little of what I see. So just some shapes. It sort of goes around and back. It doesn't have to be exact. There's that one. And we have another one here. Just take your time. Really love how this looks. So colorful. And when you blow it up like this, you can see all the brush marks. That's what I really liked about using the oil pastel with this, because it mimics the brush strokes that you can see in Oscar's painting. And the last one here. You know, and I'm not being super particular about my shapes. This is more of a fun piece, not trying to make it look realistic like we have in the past. Okay. So now we are going to create inside. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to create the guitar. Since that's the longest and the biggest thing on the page. So I notice that the guitar strings has 1, 2, 3 strings. So I'm gonna come over here, and again, you can use your ruler if you like. Go almost all the way down, but not quite. And then I'm gonna make 2 more lines. Again, if you need to use your ruler, feel free. I got a little squiggly on this one, so I'm gonna fix it. There we go, squiggle gone. Here is the box near the guitar in the front, the opening for the strings. And then about right here, we have the circular opening of the guitar. And that circle stops right at the end here, because this is our border. Erase that a little bit. Okay, and now we make the guitar. So it's about right here. And the guitar is slightly slanted. So I'm gonna make that come out like this. And then we have a bunch of leaves. So I'm gonna focus on these 3 leaves first. And we're going to draw the shapes. So here's the first leaf, second leaf, and the third one's a little bit in front of it. And then I'm going to draw inside the leaf. So each of those leaves has a border. And then a vein. And then we have the other veins. And then of course there's going to be a lot of color for these leaves. This one right here and right there. Okay, so those are the first 3 leaves. We have 2 more over here. So we've got 1 sticking out here and 1 sticking out behind it. So we're going to do the same thing. We make our borders. We make our veins in the middle and our veins on the side. And then we finally have some leaves hanging out over here. So We're going to draw this one first. So these are actually longer. And that's the shape, and then it's split. We have one more coming out from behind here. So we've drawn these two. Now we're going to draw these three. So we have another one coming out to touch that one. Split. One more coming out from this way and split. And then one more sort of peeking behind here. And those are our leaves. So now we want to make a line across, a straight line across, because as we see in his painting, it has that, and then there's another line that sort of goes up like this. That's this line here, and then we have our sun. So we're going to draw the parts of the sun first, so that then we know where to put the head of the sun. So now I'm doing the rays, and it's coming over a little bit over here. Such a beautifully colorful painting. If you have a chance, take a look at his website, Oscar Ortiz, and you'll see all of his other very colorful works. So there are the rays, and now we're going to do the shape of the sun, his face, part of it. So I'm realizing that the side of his face here is a little closer to these rays. And then it comes to a point. There's a line in the middle for the nose. So think of this white pencil as if you're drawing with pencil, because we will be going over all of this again with colors. So there's the eye. Looks like one eye open, one eye shut. And then we've got some lips here. Okay. So we have pretty much drawn what we need for this drawing, and now we can actually start coloring, which is pretty exciting. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab our red. And there's a lot of red in this painting. So we're going to start coloring in the triangles that are red. And the way I'd like you to do that is to basically sort of trace inside each of the triangles, and then you can color. We're not worried about getting the triangles completely covered, because as you notice, you can still see the black behind the painting. Or I guess I'm not even sure if it's black. It looks black to me, almost as if he painted the canvas black first and then started brushing on his other colors. Move that over here. So what I'm doing now is I'm just sort of doing a quick tracing inside each of the red triangles. And that way, when you color, it will be very easy to color everything in. You can even do it with the sun. So we have a lot of spaces that are red, and then mixing colors on top of that. So here's how I'm going to color. As you can see, I'm being very bold with my color. I'm scratching onto this very hard so that I get some nice vibrant color. But I'm also leaving parts of the construction paper so that you can see through it. I'm not worried about covering every single part of my page. Just take your time. But again, it doesn't have to be perfect, just nice and vibrant, because Oscar's work is so vibrant. I love that. I'm curious what you think of his work, and if you've ever used oil pastels on black construction paper before. I know some of you have used crayons with me on black construction paper, but I'm curious if you've used oil pastels. It comes up really nicely. It's nice and bright. So while you are doing that, you can also color in the squares in the corners around the design. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, same thing, leaving spots of construction paper showing through. And I know it can be difficult depending on what your oil pastels are like. For instance, mine do not have a point, so I'm being careful. But it's also giving it a nice it's giving me an opportunity to not be so incredibly careful with coloring. I mean, I'm trying not to color, obviously, the little design that we've made in each one, but I'm still able to go pretty fast and get a lot done. So let's see, what else is red? The eye here, and we may have to go over some of this stuff. The rays of the sun. We're gonna go back and put some orange in this stuff. Again, you know, a lot of these colors are layered very beautifully. We'll go back and use red in other parts, but we can use red on the guitar. I'm going to outline the guitar. Oh, we also use red here, and I'm going to really leave a lot of black right there. And do half the guitar here. And there's little parts of red. So I'm going to color in the guitar red. Then we're going to go over it in sort of like an orange and then yellow. Lots of color. Again, I'm pressing pretty hard to get some nice color there. But I'm still leaving some of the black showing. Let's see, I think that's it for the red for now. Nope, the sun. This part of the sun, half is red, so not the eye. And we will go back with some orange and yellow because the sun is pretty colorful. Also, the lips on this half side are red. Half of the sun is blue over there. Okay, just looking to see if I've added enough red to spots. All right, I'm liking it so far. And now we're going to go to our blue. So we're going to take a blue, sort of a dark blue, and we're going to color in a bit of the left side of the sun. And I'm just scratching around. Again, leaving the black to show. There's also this side of the lips are blue, and a half of the eyelid is blue too. And then we have some blue over here. Very scratchy. Part. It really mimics the brush strokes by doing it this way. A little bit there. And now we're going to color in blue the rest of the triangles inside the guitar here too, and around the leaves. And I'm doing the same method, everything else. I'm sort of scratching on the blue, letting the black shine through a bit. Go behind the strings here. I'm also going to add some purple to that later on, but for now I'm going to leave it like that. And if you notice, I'm not digging in as deep with this color. It seems to be a little bit of a lighter blue, so we're also going to add a little bit of light blue if you have it. Well, if you're using crayons, and if you have just a very basic set, you can add a little white on top of your blue. If not, if you have oil pastels, hopefully you have a lighter blue, and you can use it on top of this blue that we're doing. And if not, you can also use some white on top of the blue, because it will make a lighter blue. right? If we think about color, when you add white to a color, it makes it darker or lighter? Lighter. If you add black to a color, does it make it lighter or darker? Darker. So when you add white to a color, that is called a tint, and adding black is a shade of a color. Anyway, just thought I'd let you know that. So now we're going to add the blue around the leaves, and I want you to outline around the leaves as best possible. Right here, you just have to color in because it's so thin. But if you can, do some outlining because we still have the leaves to color in. And again, we're making sure that our white pencil is still showing through, right? The white colored pencil that we drew the lines with. Okay. It's looking pretty vibrant. Just wait till we add the other colors. Okay, so now I want to grab the green, and we're going to start coloring in some of the leaves with green. So some of the leaves have a half spot of green and then like a reddish orange, and others have yellow and green. So right now we're going to color these parts green. That one's just going to have a line of green. This one has some sections of green. And then we go back with sort of yellowy orange. This one here, let's see. This one seems to have a lot of green. And last one over here. Okay, and then we also want to use our green to outline our triangles. So we're going to go back and we're outlining on the white line with our green. Look how vibrant it's getting now. Beautiful. Last one here, and again, take your time. Try and stay on the lines. Okay, now we're going to take a very light green. This was sort of the minty green that I have in my set. And I'm going to start outlining the leaves. I realized there's two of these I didn't do. And some of these need to be outlined and colored a little bit. That's what I'm doing with these leaves. There's a border on them, if you remember. You can see it there, where it's sort of a yellowish, minty color. So we're going to also add some yellow to that. Let's see where else. We're also going to go use this mint green for half of the eyelid there. Now I should mention, if you don't have this color, again, you can also use white. You can use yellow. Those are all okay. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to grab my yellow. I'm going to color in some of the leaves here, adding some yellow. And then I'm going to go back and add some orange to the yellow because they're orangey yellow. Giving it as much color as we can. So we've got yellow there. Also want to add yellow to the guitar. Add some yellow to this portion of the guitar and this one too. See how it looks like paint? See how thick the paint is in his painting. So I'm going to go right on top of the red with your yellow. And in some spots, you want to make it thicker. See, like, look at that big blob of paint there. Really interesting, right? Here's our yellow there. We also want to do a bit of yellow on the nose. Right here, where the eye is. Around the eye, I should say. To outline the eye. And to outline the sun's face. And to outline the sun parts here. And we're still going to go back with orange, but some yellow there. Let's see, where else is yellow? I think that's about it for our yellow. Yep. Okay. And now we're going to go in with our orange. So orange, we're going to paint, or I'm sorry, I'm thinking of adding paint on, right? We're going to add it to the sun a little bit. Also going to add it to the sun rays. So I'm adding around it and then a little bit in the middle. Also going to do it on top of the red that we used on the eye. And then in each of the triangles, I'm going to add orange to the middle of the triangle. Isn't that nice? It really brightens it up. So I've almost made like a triangle within a triangle. But I'm going quickly So we're doing the same thing where we're not worrying about covering all the black of the construction paper. Look how nice and vibrant this is looking. Okay. And then we want to make orange the shapes that are left in the corners. And again, I'm not worried about making it perfect. Just getting the shape mostly of each of those parts. It's looking very good. Okay, so now I want to add some orange to the leaves. There's some orange on this side of the leaf here. This one here. So we already added yellow to some of these, and I'm just going to add a little bit of orange because I see some orange in some of them. I'm even going to go back and then add some red. Yeah, these are like orangey red. Let's see, anywhere else? Nope, I think we're good with that. I want to go back here to some red and just add some to the leaves on top of the orange. One here too. How nice and vibrant this is looking. A little bit on this one. Let's see. I think that's it there. And, oh, I want to add, I forgot to add some orange, a little bit, to the outside of the guitar. But then I'm going to add red again so that it really shines through. The other part of orange I forgot, right here in between the sun. It's very light, just like that. And now I want you to grab your white, or your whitish blue, I'm sorry. If you have white, you can use white. If you don't have this sort of lightish blue I've talked about. I'm now going to go in and with the whitish blue and make the line for the nose here. And I'm going to add a little more to the leaves here. And I'm also going to go back and add a little bit to the white line that we did for the border. You don't have to. You can just leave it as it is because we did have the white colored pencil. And if you like it that way, then you can leave it that way. Especially if you're afraid you're going to sort of mess up the line. Also going to add white on some of these lines here. And color, scribble, actually, some white in the sun over here where the blue is. And I'm just scribbling to make it sort of a lightish blue where we already added the dark blue. See how that's creating texture? It's really neat. And I want to do some here where we added the dark blue. It's very textured. And a little here. Where else? I'll do a little in the guitar. Little parts of the guitar. So on top, just adding some texture, make it look like paint. And add some on the parts of the sun rays. And then finally, on the strings of the guitar. Okay, and then last but not least, I'm gonna add just some yellow to more of the outlines of these leaves. Just taking my yellow and going over where we colored in the leaves with the light blue. And I'm just adding some more color. It's really neat the way it stands out, isn't it? Let's see, anywhere else? I might want to add a little yellow to some of the green around the triangles. Just right on top of that green, and I'm just adding it for some more color, and I'm not worrying if it covers the green entirely, just to give it a little bit of oomph. Okay, and that, my art venturers, is our colorful piece, inspired by Oscar Ortiz, called Hispanic Heritage. So take a picture and either email it to me, or you can send it in my Facebook group. And I'm actually going to do a post this week about the projects that we have been doing. So if you'd like to have a picture of that, it will be on Facebook and on Instagram. Maybe your parents have Facebook or Instagram and can show you. If not, I can also just send it in the email. I'll take a picture and send it. So I can't wait to see what these look like. Thank you so much, and I hope you are inspired by Oscar Ortiz's work. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.